Hi, welcome back to the part 2 of the IMDB data retrieval. In this video, we'll try to work with images. We'll try to get the larger image as we got the data for the small thumbnail of the movie. We'll try to download both the small and large image, and then later on we'll calculate some stats that we already did in the previous one. Just do a little bit more. We'll show the list visually with the JFrame, and then later on maybe we'll filter the list by some stuff. So to start up, I'd like to try to download the small image, and to do so we'll need to create a new class, and let's call it File Manager. And I'm creating a new class because it's totally different behavior, different type of methods that we have to create, and I just do not want to mix everything up in one file, let's say to add it to the movie maker. And in here we'll use this class statically, which means we will not create new objects from File Manager class. We'll just call the methods like so, File Manager dot, and then the, let's say, download method. It's because every method call will be totally different. We do not need to create new instances and save different types of data. So just create a static void method. Let's call download image. And we'll pass the link to the image on the web. So in here, we'll try to create a try-catch block, as working with files always throws exceptions. So we want to catch that. Let's print out the simple one. Couldn't save file at this place. And then print the stack trace so we actually see what was going wrong. So we need to do a couple things. The first one, we need to find a place where we will save those files. So for that, I want to create a new folder just on the desktop. I'll call it IMDB. And also create two other folders called small images and large images, with the hope that we will be able to save both the small and large images, and we'll just split them up in different folders. Let's go to the properties and take the location of the folder and save it just as a class variable, also static, so we can access it. String, let's say local base is this, and then slash small images. And then slash at the end as well. So this is the folder where we will save the images. So another thing that we want to do is create a file name for the image that we want to save. So idea is, if we go to back to the page and inspect image, let's just copy the source from it, and let's just go to the text editor so we can see it better. So what we can do is, what I usually do is just strip everything from the last slash, take it all off, and this will be the name of the file that we'll use locally. It doesn't matter that it's not super pretty. It works as a file name, and we'll stick with that. So what we need to do is take the link to the image, retrieve the last position of the slash, and take everything that's after the slash and use it as a file name. So let's try to do that. String file name equals the link, and then we'll use a substring and just pass the begin index of where we want the substring to start. This will be href last index of the slash, or this slash rather, and then +1 because we want to start from the next symbol. We don't need this slash as well in the file name. So we have that, and let's just say string local path and just put those both together. So this will be local base, the folder, plus the file name, which actually brings it all together, and we have a local place where we'll save the file. So now we'll create an input stream. And let's say it's a new URL. That's the href. And then just the open stream so we can access the file later on. Ctrl-Shift-O, import the classes, and everything's fine. Now we are ready to download the file. One more checkup I want to do is see if this file already exists in our file system, because if it does, we just don't need to download it again. So we just say new file instance. New file, call the method exists. Or sorry, absolutely wrong, new file. And then we call the constructor with the local path where we want to find this file. And then we call, if it exists, Ctrl-Shift-O, import the file class. We could say if the exists returns false, but this is the rookie way of doing things. We just say when it not exists. Only then we'll say files copy. And what we can see, we can pass the input stream and then the path target. So we have the input stream, we don't need any options. The input stream and then the target is a path. So we can get it from the paths, also called the static method, and pass the local path in there, and we're losing a parenthesis. So it looks good. Only thing we have to fix I think we're missing one. Yeah, there we go. So this is the whole code that we need. We're opening the input stream towards the web to this link, so we can actually download the file. And then we're using this Java's built-in method, so we can take this input stream and get everything from the web to this path, which is the local image. So here we have the download image method, and we just want to use it. So what we're going to do is open the movie class and go to the constructor, and where we save this image URL, or maybe you can just do it at the end of the constructor, we're going to say file manager, download me this image. And what we will pass is this class's image URL. And what I'd like to do is just print out the link so we can see what's going on. And we're ready to test it. So on every occasion when we create a new movie object, when we call this constructor, we'll also call file manager's download image method with this URL, and we'll try to save it. So let's go back to Movie Maker. Let's test it with one page, as we don't need 5 pages to see if everything's right. Let's remove the statistics and, well, try to run it. Let's go to main. Okay, we can stop it right here. So what we can see is we are saving the same file for all the movies. So there are actually 2 options. Number one, we're doing something wrong where we are saving the file, or the actual HTML file that we are retrieving from this request is a bit different than what we're getting at the end when we load it in the browser. So what we can do is try to find out which is which. We can go to the Networks tab, clear it out, refresh the page, and then a bunch of stuff loads in. Let's go back to the top and get this document that's loaded. We can see it's HTML right here. We can right-click on it, copy, and copy response. And let's go to the text editor. Geez, it's huge. Let's try to see what's going on. So we wanted the block for each movie, which was called what? Lister item image. I think it's the right one. So let's try to find it. Here we have it. So here we can see what's actually loaded at the initial page load. So the source is different than what we see when we actually see the page. So the source is this no picture that we saw in Java. But there's this interesting thing that there's another attribute in the same image tag. It's called load late. And I think it holds the image. If we copy this and open it up, yep, we can see that this is one of the images on the page. So this is the actual image that we want. So what we can try to do is just change the source to the load late attribute. You can go to Java and say we don't want source, we want load late attribute. So this is probably, well, there are numerous possibilities why this is done. Maybe to save some time for the initial load of the page, maybe to save the images against us that we are trying to download those images from the initial load, but that thing didn't help. Well, let's see what's going on. Now we can see that we are getting different images. So that was one thing. And these things sometimes happen with the more modern pages. It happens more often that the file and the page that's actually loaded, what you see, is different from what is loaded initially with just the HTML. So there's probably in this list, probably here's some kind of JavaScript file that goes over all the images and changes the load late attribute to the source and just loads the actual image on the top. So I think the images should be downloaded as well. So we can go in here and we can see that images are right here. We took them from the first page. If we select, we can see that there are 51. The first one, I think, is the one with the no image, the initial one. Oops, so we can delete that. We don't need it anymore. So now we got the small images. That's the good part. What we want to do is to be greedy, because if we open up one of those images, we can see it's pretty small. And if we, I don't know, if we want to show this in a larger scale, or if we want to save it for ourselves, then this small, how big is it? 67 times 98 pixels. So it's 3 kilobytes. It's a super small image. And I think it's good only for this list. So what we want to do is try to figure out if the website has created some kind of understandable algorithm between creating a small image and a large image. So what websites sometimes do is when they create a new movie on their site, on the back end, only one image is uploaded. And what the script usually does is creates a small thumbnail and, let's say, the one large image. And they both usually have some similarities, and you can understand how to get to the large image from the image of the small one, from the URL of the small one. So we can just open up the movie, and I think this is the same image. If we open it up, it opens in a gallery. So if we would go to this image like so, open up the link of the movie, open up the gallery, and then open up this image. So it's at least 2 or 3 extra requests to only get the large image. So for 50 images, for 50 movies in one page, this is extra 100 to 150 requests instead of one that when we get all the information from the page. And on one page, it's nothing. But if we want to download, let's say, 10,000 or 100,000 movies, it takes a lot more time than we initially thought we would take. So what we want to do is copy image address and trying to see if there are some kind of similarities between them. So this is the large image and the small image. will be this one. We just copy image address, and let's just put them side by side. Oh, and what we can see, the subdomain is the same, the domain name is the same, the folders are also the same, the long hash type of file name is also the same. Then there is an @ symbol and some kind of weird things happening. And the extension of the file is also the same. So what we can see, what I can tell from my experience is that on this site there probably is some kind of image working framework extension helper something. Then you can pass some kind of attributes, some kind of parameters to it in the URL, and it will create the image at the size that you want. So what we can try to do is just see what we can do here. What if we say, okay, let's open it up. So this is the image. What if we say I want to pass 198? It loads the image larger, but the actual size of the image is the same. What if we change the width as well? It loads for some time. Oh, it loads larger sides, but the image is actually the same. Okay, what if we remove everything? Just are left with the normal name. The image is not found. Okay, let's go back. What if the @ symbol is part of the name? Oh, there we go. We got the large image. The only thing that I did is I took off these parameters between the dots, and I got the large image. And if I, oh my God, if I click on the image and show it the real size, then I can see that it's huge. Yeah, it's that huge. Okay, maybe I don't want image that large to save on every movie. It will take a lot of time. What if I take the large images link and try to work with that? What I usually want to do is, if you find some kind of idea, okay, if I take the small images link and let's just cut everything off and load the image, everything's fine. You want to try to work with a couple other examples. Let's copy image address, save it right here. If we compare these two small ones, I lost the real one from the first one, but I think this is exactly the same. So this part is the same for the images. We just take another one and put it right here. Yeah, so the small images are all the same. What we want to do is try to figure out what's happening with the big ones. Because just because you think the first two are working, it doesn't matter that it will work with all of them. Let's put the large ones side by side. There we go. We can see that they're a little bit different. So if these are the same, we can try to work with the large ones. How about we take this one, we open it up, we try our initial idea, where we take this one off, and then we load it, and yep, we still have the huge image if we take everything off from the bottom. But what if we replace this part with the first images part? Does this idea still work? Because maybe it's from the newer version of this framework. Maybe there's a new idea. Maybe something changed. Nope, it's not found. So this doesn't work. So we can't replace all of these with all of these. What if we can do it the other way around? We take this image and we replace it with the second images idea. Maybe this is a newer framework or older one, doesn't matter. It still loads the page. Okay, so this one didn't work for the newer image, but this part worked for the older one. So I think this could be the idea. What we could try to do is take the small image, replace this part with, I think this one was the right one, and just try to download that image. Let's try to go back to Java, go to the movie, and say download, well, download images. And what we're going to do is create another download images method. It's pretty much the same at the beginning. But what we'll try to do is this link is to the small image. And we'll try to create a link to the large image. Ref to large equals, if we take this ref, we copy these ones, we take this part, we call the method replace, we replace this string with, which one was it? I hope it's this one. I don't want to do it twice. 476. No, it's this one. So there we go. Always good to check. So we place the small idea with the large one. So now we will have the link to the large image. And what I'd like to do is reduce this one folder lower. And let's just say I have the link to the small image and link to the large image. Let's just say download image from this link to the folder small images. And with this link to the large images. Now let's just add one string subfolder, and creating a local path, we have the local base, then the subfolder, then the slashes, because it's still the folder, and then the file name. So in here, we'll save it to the small images with the same file name, and then the large images with the same file name. I have no idea, but I hope it works. Let's go back to the folder and delete these ones so we can see if everything is working correctly. This is empty. So let's try it. Delete that, run it again. And I think there's no errors. Oh, interesting. Some images are creating two @ symbols at the end. Okay, enough with the images. Okay, it's done. If we open it up, we can see 50 small images, 67 times 98. If we open large images, we have the large images. If we open them up really, we can see that this is a large image. So there we go, we cracked the IMDb's algorithm of image storing. If you want the super large images, you can just replace this one with nothing, and you'll just get the large ones. But I think it will take a lot more time. I'm just not going to do that for the video's sake. So there we go, we have the first part. Where's our to-do list? Lost it. Okay, got the large image, got the small image. Everything's fine. So now we're ready to calculate something just to figure out. One thing I wanted to do in the last video, I saw that there were the comedies were 244 out of 250. So I want to figure out what's that all about. Let's go back to 5 pages. And as we are reading the page every time, again and again, all the pages every time, let's just comment out the image download the method, just because we want to move everything a lot faster at the beginning. It's not the best idea to keep reading the page every time. It would be a lot better to save it, read it once, save it, and then work with the saved data. But as this is the beginning, this is only the first two parts, we'll just work with what we have. In the later parts, we will save the data locally, maybe in the database, and then we'll work with that. But right now we want some stats. Let's just add what we want to do. Not comedies. Let's just do the longest movie, the highest gross income. Let's just get the over 90 and under 40, or over 9.0 rating and under 4.0. The best and the worst movies. What else could we do? Let's just get something longest movie as well. Oh, we have that. Okay, cool. So let's start with not comedies. How we could do that? Well, let's go through all the movies in the movie list. That's not true. Movies list. Okay, cool. And how we can do that? We can take the movie, and all the movies have genres. And we want to see if the genre comedy is not in this list. So we can create a new genre. Comedy is, what was it? Genre map. And we can get it by the key, as we know it's called comedy. We take the reference to that comedy genre and just say, hey, genres, if it contains the comedy. So if this movie genres contains comedy, then we're going to skip it. Else we're going to print the movie's title. Let's see if this works. So we go through all the movies, we take the genre list of the specific movie. If it contains comedy, we'll just skip it. And if it doesn't, we'll print the movie title. Let's just read 5 pages. Okay. So there's some kind of Incredibles. Okay, let's open this one up. Let's see what's going on, because I'm really interested in why the hell is this not a comedy. So this is the one. Animation, action and adventure, but it's in the comedies list. Well, interesting. Maybe it just shows first 3, but it's actually more than 3. Well, I don't know, but this is something weird. We found a flaw in the comedies list, that maybe it is more than 3 genres, it just doesn't show all of them, which is weird, but well, we found all the movies: Masked Spies, something that I'm not trying to pronounce, Harley Quinn, Gravity Falls. All these movies are in the comedy list, which are not comedies. But this is the way we can work. Let's just comment it out. Let's try another one. Longest movie. Oh, we could actually save this code. Okay, the longest movie. We want to get the longest as the same idea with getting maximum from the list. We need to have a variable that will hold this longest movie, and let's just say integer longest length, longest length is 0 at the beginning. And so just the same idea as we were finding the max in a list. So if movie's length is larger than long, then the longest movie is going to be this movie, and the long is going to be this movie's length. And after we are going through all the list, we are printing longest movie is the longest title at long minutes. I think it was minutes. Okay, let's go through with it, read it all again. And we're getting a null pointer exception in this 53rd row. So in here, the only null pointer exception we can get is the longest. So this can mean only one thing, that the longest attribute, the longest variable was not set by any of the movies. So none of the movies' lengths were longer than 0. If we try to print the movie's length out in every iteration, then we can see they're all 0. So something is going wrong when we are trying to save the movie's length. So what you can do is just print out the length string and see what's up. Again, for the testing, let's just do one page. Oh, there we go. It has the minutes at the end. So we can just, when we pass it, we can say, well, replace space min with the empty string. So what about that? We can split or substring or do whatever. There we go. We have the correct minutes. We just needed to take off the min part. So there we go. We found the longest movie. And we fixed a bug. 2 birds with 1 stone. What else? The highest gross. This is kind of the same. Most expensive. What was the gross? The gross is a double. Geez, nope. So we want a double. Let's say G. If movie's gross is larger than this G, then the most expensive is this movie, and the largest gross is movie's gross. We don't need to print that one out. Oops, nope, back. And at the long, well, dollars. Rich movie, whatever. We print it out. There we see that the gross of the movie is printed in the scientific notation with this E and the 8 at the end, so it means like with the 8 zeros. So what we want to do is print it in a little bit different way. So let's say this, by the way, doesn't mean that there's something wrong with the number. This is just Java's way, how Java prints out the large numbers. So we can just have it here. We just go with printf, and we'll say the number with no elements behind comma. This will be float, and the number is G. If we print it out, there we go. We could also divide it, the number by the million and show it in millions, but this is just another way, another hack how to show it. We can also say double G in mil equals G divided by million. What did I do? So this is just an idea. and 477 million. Damn, Frozen 2. Good job, movie. Maybe we should turn into movie business. Okay, whatever. What else could we do? All this we did. Okay, let's just get the worst movies. All the movies under 4.0. So we don't need this anymore. So what could we do? You could actually try to do all these before I show it to you. You just pause the video, try to figure it out how to do it. And if you can't, you just move on and follow along. So movies, I think its rating is less than 4. And we're just going to print it out. M.title is horrible at M's.rating. And we can remove all those. Remove that. And print. Cats are at 2.7. Damn, that's an awesome movie. Okay, that's really good movie. Cool. This is only the first 5 pages. I hope there is no movie with a lower score than 2.7, but well, good job for them. Okay, we did some stats. We could also try to do something with, okay, let's go back here. Let's do another thing. I want to print all the genres that the worst movie has, just to see what's up. So movie, worst, again, like the previous times, is and double. Worst rating is what? Let's just say a 10. Then worst rating is always be lower than that. And if this movie's rating is lower than worst rating, yeah, is this right? If this is larger and this is worse, yep, then worst movie is this movie, and the worst rating is this movie's rating. And then at the end, when we have it, we're going to loop through the movie's genres. Not the movie, the worst genres. And each of them is going to be genre, let's say G. And we can say the worst dot title plus was, and then genre dot title. So we'll print all the titles of all the genres. We went through this: comedy, drama, and family. There we go. We went through 2 kinds of stuff. We can also go through and see all the actors that it had, just the same way. Dot actors, I think, and G dot, what was it, name? Yeah, it was name. We go through with it. Well, there we go. These guys earned 2.7 on the IMDB. Oh well. So that's the idea behind some of the statistics. We can also go through, let's say, get one of the genres that's not comedy, because almost all of them are comedies. And let's say get the drama and print out all the dramas for this. Or actually, let's just go with the James Corden. And let's just say here we do the break. So we only work with the first one. And we go with, do another loop. And print out all the movies this person was in. So movie, double M, or whatever, we can use M as well, because this M has a scope only of this for loop, so it's not visible in here. We can use the M as well. this worst actors movies, we loop through those and just print out the g.name was in or played in or starred in, whatever, in m.title. He was in 2 movies. And then we can do also that was rated, and this movie's rating. So we went through all the levels back to the Cats at 2.7. So there we go. James Corden does not have a great IMDb score, I think. One movie at 5.3, the second one at 2.7. The average rating is 4. Well, I've seen worse. So there we go. We can do a bunch of loops, bunch of other things. Maybe we can add a method to an actor. Let's say print all his movies, or print his movies, or or for movie print the genres, or print all the actors for the movie, or whatever. We can go through like this. That's why it's great that we have all the lists for every object. So we find the movie, we take the movie genre. By the genre we can take, or by the actor we can also take movies. By movie we can take genres, and so on. We can go through all of them and just find whatever stats we want. So this we can delete. And now we have to go to the visual part. And the visual part is a little bit tricky. For that, I'm going to create a new class. And let's just call it, movie frame. Let's call it that. The first thing we're going to do, this will extend JFrame. Import it. And we'll say the constructor is going to have, nothing at the beginning. Let's just set some basic things. Set title, IMDB list, or comedy list. I don't know how to write anymore. This, what do we need? Set bounds. Let's say 300 pixels from the left at the page, 100 pixels from the top, 600 wide, and 600 height. This, get content pane, set background, just some random color. I have no idea, let's just do whatever. And then one thing we want to do is set default close operation to the JFrames. What do we have? Exit on close. So when we click on the cross at the top of the frame, it actually closes the program. It doesn't continue to run. And at the end, I think this set visible true. Do we need something else? I don't think so. Then we'll have the init list. We don't need it public. Void init list. It's not going to have anything in it. Let's just go back to the movie maker. And we will create a new movie frame object. And we can actually skip all this, right? Because we don't need to read any pages just to create a JFrame. So we can save that, run the page again. Well, we have the basic idea. There's nothing pretty yet, but this is the basic base of the JFrame that we have. The background is not needed, it's redundant, but whatever, we'll have it for now. What happens with E4? It should be a little bit, yeah, this is way worse. Okay, so what I want to do is open the Paint the wonderful paint and show you just a little bit of the technique that will be going behind the scenes of this. So what we'll have is a wonderful J-frame with the top row. This is the X, those are the whatever things. Let's say this is the icon, this is the name, cool. So this, the black one, the initial one that we saw just right now is J-frame. So that's the base of everything right now. In the J-frame, we will have another object. Right now it will be full size, and we'll call it, not we will call it, but it will be J-scroll pane. It's just to have some kind of idea behind it. There will be J-scroll pane, which is the J-scroll pane class, the object of J-scroll pane class. And then we will also have, let's create it smaller, we'll have the J-panel that will hold all the movies in it. And if we go deeper, then there will be a lot of these movie objects like in the list. That's like my idea of how we will create it. And those are the movies. Let's say the first one is the image, and then we'll have the text and everything, whatever we have in there. And the idea is that the visible part is only what's in the J-frame and in the J-scroll pane. So we will see only this up to this part at the bottom of the page, but the J-scroll pane provides us with a wonderful tool that it's called scroll bar. So we'll be able to scroll through and just scroll up and down and see what's in the J-frame in this J-panel, the green one that actually goes lower than the J-frame itself, and we'll be able to see more of the movies. And each of these will be J-panels as well. J-panels, and in them they will have a J-label. And those two, I think those two will have the box layout, just to help us with the ways to set everything in the grid, so we don't need to worry about the positions. So that's kind of the idea. We have the J-frame. In it we have a scroll pane, so we can scroll through something that's larger than the actual frame, and the larger part will be the big J-panel, the green one. And then in it we'll have also smaller J-panels. No, not the J-label. I was wrong. The J-label doesn't have a box layout. The J-panel has the box layout. It's just some very specific things for J-frame. You do not need to know a lot about that. It's very specific. It's not going to help you in the future, so that's why I don't want to go in the very depth about those things. So that's just some basic idea, so you know what I'm doing in there. So my idea for probably the future videos will be, we'll have all the movies in the list. Then we will be able to, let's do some new magical color, purple. You can click on the movie, and you can open up a movie's, let's say a new frame. In there we will probably have a movie image, the title, the movie title, and then maybe all the actors in the list, and maybe all the genres in the list as well. So from those we'll be able to click on, let's say click on the actor, and open up another page just like for a movie, but for the actor. We won't have actor's image for now, but we'll see his name of the actor, and all the movies he plays in, and the same with genre. So we'll be able to open up, let's say, Titanic. It opens up the movie, all the different data for the movie that we have. It will show all the actors. Let's say we click on Leonardo DiCaprio, and we open all the other movies that he's in. And we can click on other movie and open up that movie. See, oh, this movie has this another actor as a star. So if somebody asks us, hey, what was the name of the guy who played with this guy who played in this movie with Leonardo DiCaprio, we can find Leo, click on his movies, find what this person's talking about, open that movie up and find the other star of the movie, and maybe find another movie of his, and maybe find the genre of the movie. So we'll be able to go through all the actors and movies and genres all through until we find whatever we need. The only problem is that we will not have all the movies in the internet database, but we'll start with a bunch of comedies. And I think Titanic is not a comedy, but well, it's as how you look at it. Okay, so this is the basic idea that we'll try to do. And then the second part, but I don't think we'll be able to do this in this video. I want to create a screenshot so I don't lose it. Maybe I just save this image. Whatever. So this is what I have. So yeah, we'll try to create this one. Yeah, whatever. Don't save. So this is where we have to do it. It's not going to be initialized list. Let's work only in the, how's it called? Constructor. So the first thing we need to do is initialize all the objects. And we'll start with the JPanel that will hold, I don't know how to write, come on. This will be, let's say, articles container. It's just a new JPanel. And we open it up and it's created. So a lot of these objects that hold other objects within them are called usually wrappers, containers, or lists or whatever. Let's call this one container. And then for this articles container, we'll say set layout, new box layout, and the target will be itself. Again, you don't need to go too much in depth about this. It's just one way of doing things, because in the JFrame there's so many layouts, so many different ways how to draw things. You can draw everything manually, setting all the sizes and positions of the items. You can use numerous different layouts. This is just one of the 100 ways how to do things. And so we take this one and we add it to the JFrame. So articles container is added to the JFrame. That's fine. Now we need to create JScrollPane. JScrollPane, let's call it articles scrollPane. And there it will have the articles container. That will be the element it scrolls through. It's actually working on. And then the bunch of stuff. ScrollPane constants. Vertical as needed. And ScrollPane constants. Horizontal scroll bar never. So if we need to scroll vertically, it will show if everything fits within this 600 by 600 frame. Will not show it, but if we need it, will show it. And horizontal scroll bar will never be shown, not like this. So here we see the scroll bar when it's not needed, but in this frame, the horizontal scroll bar will never be seen, and vertical only when needed. So we can also add the scroll pane, article scroll pane. We add it to the JFrame. Also, we do the set visible at the very bottom because we just want to create all the scene and just then show it visually. We don't want to show the scene before everything's ready, just like in the movies or theater. The curtains open only when everybody's ready and the actual scene can start. So we can call it, let's call it better, populate movie list or movies list. Let's pass this articles container as a jpanel. Let's call it just container, because this will be the element we'll be putting those smaller jpanels into the bigger list. So there's just one problem. We don't have any movies to put in. So what we can do is go back to the movie maker class and just pass the movie maker itself. Oh, sorry, not movie maker, this. I want myself. I'm in the movie maker class and pass himself to this list. And this will take a movie maker object and say this class will have a variable of a movie maker class, and this class is movie maker is going to be the movie maker that's passed. So in this method, we will be able to go create a for loop. And from this movie maker, we take movies list. So just so we can access the other class, the movie maker class, access all the genres and actors and all the movies list with ease. We just go I++, jpanel, movie panel, just create a new one. And for the movie panel, we'll also set layout. This will also be new box layout. The target will be the panel itself, and it will go with the JLayout's y-axis. So the long story short, the page axis just takes the full width of the element, and the y-axis means each new jpanel just going to stack one under the other, just going down by the y-axis, just down the list. Let's do something interesting. Let's set a color, background equals, if the eye divides by 2, then we'll say color red, else we'll color green. Nothing super fancy yet. And then we want to create a JLabel that will hold the actual data that will actually finally show on the screen. Let's call it movie element. Import the JLabel, and then there's equals missing. And we'll add this one to the movie panel. So the JLabel is added to its own JPanel, and the JPanel needs to be added to the big container. So the container, we add the movie panel. So just like a simple hierarchy. So the smaller is added to its parent. All of these ones are added to this one. This article container takes the scroll pane that helps it scroll, and both of these are added to the frame itself. So I think we are kind of ready to show something. We just need to show some Let's take 2 pages. But there's only a little problem. We do not have any data in the JLabel, right? So the JLabel is also one great thing. We can add a title to it, we can add some data, add some images, and so on. But one great thing that will help us significantly to show something interesting in there is we can take the HTML tag and fill it up with some kind of information, and it will show the HTML in the JLabel. So what I'm going to do is just take the HTML and just add, without the head tag, just in the body, just some simple data, maybe just h1 tag, just with the text. Just nothing fancy for now. Create HTML, and without the text, in the place of the text, we'll say movie's title. And we'll place this HTML in the constructor of the JLabel. And I think we're good to go. So now we have some kind of content in the JLabel. So if we run the program, there we go. Oh, we didn't set the background, but we have a list of all the movies. Let's try to add some kind of a style to it. So style equals, let's say padding is 20 pixels. This one, let's say, is style is text align center. I don't know if this is going to work in here, but the movie panel, set background to this new background color. And let's run it again. There we go. It's not in the middle because I think it's not a full width. Let's try to do something, display block with this 100%. So there's also a little bit of playing to do. Yeah, this doesn't work. I'm not really sure why. Maybe div should be full width, I don't know. But this is the idea. Maybe we can set it to 600 pixels, maybe that will work. So here we can say, we can add whatever information we need. We can, for me, for example, working with HTML is a lot easier than to add, if we want to go back to the paint, and let's say that this is one block of the movie, create a new panel for the image, then another one for the title, maybe there's the rating or meta scores, here are all the genres, maybe here are the actors, the gross, and whatever. This will take so much time and so much, for me, a lot more work than to create all of this in HTML. I'm not going to do that too much in this video. I can maybe add another div in here. Let's just add this style to this div. Let's see what's going on. And maybe add another div tag. And what do we have? Movie description. Maybe we can just show that. We can also add the image, the background normal colors, not just red and green. But this is just the basic to show you how things work. Yeah, it's way off. We need to, oh, this is, okay, let's just set it to 600 pixels for now. There are also some specifics for this idea, we can see that the width is just as it wants to be. Oh, this is just the first div. We needed to set it to, we should create a parent div for both of those divs and just set that to 600 pixels. But this is the idea we can work with. These are all the movies. We can create a larger list. We can work with HTML just the way you want to. Some styling is not going to work. I'm not super familiar, but I think the newest versions of the stylings, definitely some keyframes are not working there. But just some basic HTML, just so you can maybe add a table, add some backgrounds, some hover effects, and so on. So I think this is it. For the to be continued, I can show you some ideas for the future. So if this is a JFrame, and this is the list that we had, we might add some, let's say, a search bar, where we can say, okay, input some kind of information. Maybe it's an actor's name, maybe it's a movie title, maybe it's a rating or whatever, and we'll just, on the click of a button, we'll just filter out everything that's not within this search. Maybe we'll create a rating. We can just go with from and to. We'll just choose, let's say, from 5 up until 8. And we can show those movies. Maybe by the gross, maybe we can show the list of all the genres, and we can choose from the drop-down, show all the movies that are in this genre. So basically, we'll have a filter at the top, and then the second thing we'll add also a clickable. Those elements will be clickable. So when we click them, some events are going to happen, and the same with these filters, obviously, so they would work. So those are those two things that we'll try to create in the next video. Well, you have an option to create a better HTMLs, get a little bit more information from here, try out some more data, work with these images, maybe get another images if you find some. So, but I think this is it for this video. Hopefully, let's see you at the third part.